Okay, welcome to Beit Yaakov again. Sorry about those 11 seconds. I didn't realize that we had actually started recording. Okay, so we continue. Abraham was the Sumerian city of Ur. The city was called Ur of Chaldees. Thus it would appear it was inhabited by Chaldeans or Sumerians. It is unlikely that even as Terah was a Sumerian or a Chaldean, so it was the case with Abraham. Abraham's brother Haran died in the land of his nativity, that is the Ur of Chaldees. This was the land Abraham was commanded to leave. So it would appear Abraham was a Chaldean by birth, and the term Hebrew would have come not so much from Eba, but from the fact that Abraham was one of those who crossed over the flood of or the river Euphrates. The term Habaru, Hebrew, meaning one who crossed over. The Genesis of Bereshit scriptures, chapter 12 to 25, covers the life of Abraham, who lived to 175 years old. Some of the life of Yitzhak, chapters 21 to 35-29, cover the life of Yitzhak, who lived 180 years. Chapter 25 to 49-33 covers the life of Yaakov, who lived 147 years, and his sons. And out of these, Luke selects Yehudah as the one linked with Mary's ancestry. We can see Yehudah's life from Genesis 25 to 35 to Exodus Shemot 1:6. The next on the list is Pharez, and his life spans from Genesis 38:29 to Exodus Shemot 1:7. We do not know the ages of the 12 sons of Yaakov except Joseph, who died at 110, who is not in Luke's list, but was important at the end of Genesis 30:24 to 50:26. This is the end of the Genesis Bereshit scriptures and brings us to Pharez in Luke's genealogy. At the end of Genesis Bereshit scriptures, we, the people of Israel, enter Mitzrayim, into Egypt. We can add to our early genealogy and dates to bring us to the end of Genesis. Abraham lived 100 years, begat Yitzhak 1951 BC, and he then lived until he was 175, 1865 BC. The days of Yitzhak, 1950 BC to 1771 BC. First student of righteousness and justice, and Yitzhak ruled his father's community from 1875 BC until 1771 BC. The first child seed of the promise. In your seed will all the nations of the earth be blessed. Yitzhak lived 40 years, and married Rebekah, the daughter of Bethuel, the Aramean of Padan Aram, in 1911 BC. Bethuel was the father of Rachel and Laban. The Aramean was Rachel's brother. This would explain why Yaakov was a wandering Aramean about to perish, for he began to wander when Esau was planning to kill him. When Yitzhak was 60 years old, he begat Esau and Yaakov, even 1891 BC. And Yitzhak lived until he was 180 years old, even unto 1771 BC, and was gathered to his people. The days of Yaakov Israel, 1891 BC to 1744 BC. We don't see necessarily that Isaac visited Egypt. And it came to pass that in the second generation of righteousness and justice, Yaakov did rule his father's community from 1771 BC, when he was 120 years old, until 1744 BC, when he was gathered to his people at 147 years of age. The seed, Zerah, who was under a foreign nation. And it came to pass that Yahweh promised Yaakov in Genesis Bereshit scriptures, the 35th chapter, that a nation and a church, Kahal, of nations, would be of him, and kings would come from his loins, and the land that Yahweh had given to Abraham and Yitzhak would be given to him and to his seed after him. And he was promised these things in Bethel. And Yaakov had 12 sons, the sons of Leah. Reuben, January 5th, 1807, Tevet 9. Shimon, November the 1st, 1807, Heshvan 14. Levi, August 28th, 1806 BC, Elul 19. Yehudah, June 29th, 1805 BC, Sivan 29. Yisachar, August 16th, 1802 BC, of 21. Zebulun, November 26th, 1802 BC, Kislev 5. The sons of Rachel. Joseph, December 20th, 1801 BC, Tevet 10. And Benjamin, November 7th, 1709 BC, Cheshvan 27. And she died on the way to Ephrath, which is Bethlehem, and she was buried there. The sons of Bilhah, the concubine of Yaakov, whom Reuben Yaakov's first son, did sleep with. Daniel, Dan, March 20th, 1804 BC, Adar 28. Naphtali, January 20th, 1803 BC, Shevat 9. And the sons of Zilpah, Leah's handmaid. Gad, October 20th, 1803 BC, Shevat 30. These were the sons born to Yaakov in Padan Aram, and Yaakov was 130 years old when he entered Egypt, Mitzrayim, even on April the 2nd, 1761 BC, Nisan 6. And he was gathered to his people when he was 147 years old, April the 2nd, 1744 BC, Nisan 14. Yea, and even before his gathering, Yaakov had moved to Padan Aram to his uncle Laban's house for about 20 years. Yea, and this was to save his life from his brother Esau, whom he had angered and fled from on November 26, 1850 BC, Kislev 11. And so he got the reputation of being a wandering Aramean about to perish. And it came to pass that he met Rachel on March 17, 1814 BC, Nisan 4, and worked 7 years and gained a wife, even Leah, and he did marry on April the 10th, 1808 BC, Nisan 5. Yea, and he was deceived into marrying Leah when he thought it was Rachel, even as a fruit of him deceiving his father Yitzhak 7 years previously. Yea, and he agreed to work another 7 years to pay for Rachel, his wife. And it came to pass that he did marry Rachel in advance of the work, even on April 14, 1808 BC, Nisan 9. Yea, and his wives gave him their maidservants, and Yaakov did marry 4 wives, even, and yea, Yahweh did not utter one word of disapproval of his marriages, but rather blessed him with children, even at least 13. Yea, and he completed his contract for his wives on March 25th, 1801 BC, Nisan 6. And it came to pass that after these things he did work 6 years for Laban, Yaakov's uncle on his mother's side, and his father-in-law, flock, Laban's flock, he worked them. And it happened that he completed his 20 years of working for Laban on March 15, 1795 BC, Nisan 1. And Yaakov begat Joseph on December 20th, 1800 BC, Tevet 10. And after this time, Rachel was gathered to her people, and she gave birth to Benjamin, even on November 7th, 1790 BC, Cheshvan 27. And Yaakov buried her on the way which passeth from Jerusalem to Bethlehem. And are these events not written in Genesis Bereshit Scriptures, chapter 29, even unto chapter 31? Yea, and it came to pass that as Yaakov and Laban did finally separate, that they agreed that Mizpah would be the boundary between Laban's land and Yaakov's land, and Mizpah was on the mount of Gilead, even in the land that latterly belonged to the half-tribe of Manasseh, Joseph's firstborn, even as it is recorded in Genesis Bereshit, chapter 31. And it came to pass after these things that did Yaakov meet the angels of Elohim, Genesis Bereshit, chapter 31, and from there he sent his messengers even to Esau, even after 20 years of separation from his brother. And Yaakov did pray to Yaakov regarding his brother Esau. Okay. O God of my father Abraham, and God of my father Yitzhak, Yahweh, which said unto me, Return unto thy country and to thy kindred, and I will deal with thee. I am not worthy of the least of thy mercies and of all thy truth, which thou hast shown unto thy servant. For with my start I passed over this Jordan, and now I am become 2 bands. Deliver me, I pray thee, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau, for I fear him, lest he will come and smite me, and the mother with the children. And thou hast said, I will surely do thee good, and make thy seed as the sand of the sea, which cannot be numbered for multitude. And behold, that night on May 17th, 1795 BC, Sivan 5, when Yaakov was 95 years old, a spiritual being did begin to wrestle with Yaakov, and he was perceived to be a man. Yea, and the rabbis of the Talmudic Yehudim say he was the angel of Edom who wrestled with Yaakov. That wrestled Yaakov. Amen. So we continue. Jesus is Lord. I hope you find it